push that button, the red light comes on.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Town Hall. We are here for our regularly scheduled Town Council meeting. Today is Monday, November 10th. It's a little after 7:30. And our first order of business, as always, the pledge to the flag. We have Andrew Convoy here with us tonight. I'm going to ask him to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the land acknowledgement statement. The town of South Kingstown pays homage to the indigenous people and land in which the town is now located. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Narragansett tribe whose land and water we benefit from today. Next, we have roll call.
Council President McEntee.
Here.
Council Vice President Marin.
Here.
Councilmember Bergner.
Here.
Councilmember Alley.
Here.
Councilmember Wedgemont.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. It's now going to move us to item 4, approval of minutes of previous meetings.
Motion to approve item 4A, October 21 and October 23 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, that passes. It's going to bring us to item 5, interviews. We're going to conduct these interviews in the order in which they are presented on the agenda. Neil Murray, looking to be reappointed to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Neil, come on up. All right, Neil, welcome. This is a good opportunity for us to hear from you on the happenings going on at BPAC. At our last meeting, we had a few reappointment interviews, so we got to hear a little bit, but happy to hear your perspective, what's going on, what's happening. Feel free to inform us.
Sure. The advisory committee has been very busy this year, and it's good to see that it is attaining more members so that we can have more robust input. We have been active on several issues this year. I'll try and think of them geographically. We've provided input on the review and feedback to the state regarding the 138 proposed development from Route 2 to Route 108, giving input on various points regarding that. We've met and provided input with Rhode Island Department of Transportation regarding the multimodal center that's being proposed at the Kingston train station, which will be a boon. And during that meeting, we also brought up the issue regarding parking at the train station as well for access to the bike path, and got understanding regarding the expansion there and methodologies to address the parking shortage. Myself, I had the issue that I personally started on, and with Mike Marin's support, got direction and reached out to the state regarding the traffic risks at the top of South Road and 138. I see one of the methods to control some of the traffic was input there recently, which was some restrictions for people going westbound who were the most likely to hit pedestrians in the crossing there. And unfortunately, one woman was hit within the 2-year period before these improvements went in. We provided input regarding the submission for the federal grant for the improvement of Main Street, enhancing some of the wording and concepts in that proposal. Have reviewed and provided some input to the individuals from South County, from Green Hill, who were concerned about the speeding, and I understand they then came to town council meeting after discussing with us some of the issues they had regarding speeding on Green Hill Road. We've looked at the CIP, the 5-year projection of projects that will be done there, as well as other around-town issues, and provided some input on the state improvements on Main Street, basically near Old Mountain Field. So we've been active on a lot of issues. My hope personally is that as an advisory group to the town council, we can provide some guidance and proposals for a consistent operational way to anticipate issues, such as when you have CIP, what pedestrian and bicycle improvements that would be low cost should be considered in every proposed CIP project, so that we can come up with, rather than reacting to individual issues, have a process in which we anticipate what needs might be at each project and enhance those. I think the town council will benefit because it might lead to fewer appearances and requests. It will provide some control so that South County can maintain its nature. We don't want to see an overabundance of stop signs, speed bumps, and such throughout town. We want the ones that allow traffic to flow, but to flow safely through the town, with consideration, obviously, to the safety of bicycle riders and pedestrians. So it has been a busy 9 months. I was last before you in February. I didn't realize that I was filling an interim position, but it's been a busy several months on multiple issues within the committee, and I think we're very fortunate to have the members we do who care so deeply about the issues.
Excellent stuff, Neil. Any questions from members? All right. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, I started last time. Thank all of you for your time and commitment on behalf of the town.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Nicholas Furcolo, looking to be appointed to the Affordable Housing Collaborative. Oh, Furcolo, my apologies. Well, Nick, welcome.
Thank you. First
A
time I've been
little bit
here.
of different line of questioning since you're seeking an appointment for the first time. We do have your resume and the paperwork you submitted to be under consideration, but there's an opportunity for us to hear more about you, why you think you'd be a good fit, what you think are some challenges or successes at the Affordable Collaborative. And obviously, affordable housing is one of the top priorities for the council, and it's in this term. So, it's something we're going to be, looking at regularly, trying to invest in it, trying to encourage it. So, let's see what you have here.
Yeah, so to make this quick, I know you guys got a lot. Just a bit of a condensed version of kind of what I wrote on some of my resume here. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Furcolo, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you for your time. I lived in South County since 2000. I graduated from URI, so South Kingstown has been a home for most of my life. I'm 30 years old, and part of the generation that's kind of left firsthand to see how tough it is to rent or buy here, and being a resident here, not just for clients, but personally too. With that being said, I'm a realtor with the Century 21 Guardian Realty out of Wakefield, Rhode Island. And I see the market every day from the ground level. I work with families, first-time home buyers, renters, and lifelong residents who all share the same goal. They want to stay in the community, they love it, but they find it increasingly difficult to afford. The experience gives me a real-time perspective on what's happening in South Kingstown housing market right now. I also believe strongly in removing the stigma around affordable housing. It isn't about changing who we are as a town, it's supporting the people who already make this place work, our teachers, nurses, small business employees, and young families who want to build a future here. If appointed, I'd bring a younger working professional viewpoint, first-hand knowledge of market trends, and a passion for helping South Kingstown grow in a balanced and inclusive way. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be honored to serve and to help South Kingstown, a place where people who love this town can also afford to live in it.
All right. Any questions from members for Nicholas? Good.
Nick, thank you so much for putting yourself forward to serve on the Affordable Housing Committee. It's a very important committee to this town council. We've been working on affordable housing and workforce housing, and I think that both your character as a person, because I've known you for a long time, and your real life experience, growing up in South Kingstown and being a realtor will be a great addition and resource for the Affordable Housing Committee. So I look forward to your service on the committee, and thank you for applying.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's now going to move us to item 6, appointments. Do I hear a resolution?
Motion to approve Neil Murray for reappointment to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee and Nicholas Furpolo for appointment to the Affordable Housing Collaborative Committee.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's now going to move us to item 7, the consent agenda.
Mr. President, with the permission of the council, I'd like to ask that 7A be separated from the rest of the items. I have a recusal form that I've filed with the clerk and with the Ethics Commission due to the fact that a co-owner of that business, not the Lauren Chapin who's listed, but another co-owner is a business associate.
All right, do I hear a motion on 7A?
So moved.
Go ahead. We're taking up 7A now.
Second.
We got a motion, we got a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, that passes 4-0 with one recusal. It's now going to bring us to the rest of the consent agenda items, items 7B through 7J. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. To approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve items 7B through 7J. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, that passes.
Okay, so motion to approve item 7A.
Second.
We already took that up.
Oh. Oh, I thought we were voting to remove it.
No, there was no vote on that.
That's
You
why I
removed
was
it
confused.
by asking for it to be removed.
Sorry, thank you.
It's now going to bring us to item 8, licenses. A is a resolution granting victualling and holiday sales licenses to Justin Fontaine Restaurants LLC, doing business as Arabella's Coffee House, Main Street, Wakefield. Application by Justin Fontaine. Justin, good to see you again. We
Good to
saw
see
you
you.
here last meeting. What's happening? We know you got a coffee place in that same plaza, right?
Yep. So, a few months after purchasing Melgy's, I had the opportunity to try to take over the space directly next door, share a wall. It used to be baked by Jessica, and I said, why not? Let's try it out. I always wanted to name a place after my daughter. So I finally got the chance to do that, so that's where Arabella's came from. We are making everything from scratch, from the pastries to the coffee syrups, and trying to keep everything local, and displaying local artist art in there and everything, and just glad to add another business to the community.
All right. Any questions from members?
What are your hours there?
6:30 a.m. till 2 as of right now, same as Melgy's.
Great. Can't wait to stop back in.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve item 8A.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. I look forward to coming in and trying. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, it's going to bring us to item B, a resolution granting a road race license to Muse Tavern to conduct the Muse Tavern Gear and Beer 5K road race on Sunday, November 23, 2025, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. to benefit South County Health with a $45,000 donation, subject to execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town. Application by George McCullough. We'll take B and C together, so I'll just read that for the record. A resolution granting a Class F 19-hour beverage license to South County Health as the beneficiary of the event of Main Street, Wakefield, for the Muse Tavern Gear and Beer 5K road race on Sunday, November 23, 2025, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Application by Jennifer Martin. So, George, it's another year. All right. Fill us in. We all know it, but just give us a little rundown.
It's a 5K road race that's been, I think, I've lost a little track because of COVID. I think the 24th year we're doing it.
Nice.
We're going to have another big turnout. I think the donation is actually going to be a lot bigger. We've had some good response from some sponsors, so we might get up to 50 or 60,000.
All right, I've been jogging.
For the ladies of the hospital this year, right?
George, I've been jogging, I've been training.
I can tell, you look it. Well, that's because you got a kid.
He says that every year.
Yeah.
Does not go.
Wait till the baby starts walking, and you'll be getting in shape.
Yep.
I believe I've signed the hold harmless law. I came in one day. Was that the whole hold harmless I signed? Linda had called me in.
So that might, if that's what you signed, yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
All right, any questions from members?
No, motion to approve item 8B and C.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you very much. It's going to be a great
Thanks
one.
again.
Yep. All right, we're now going to move up new business item 10B, a resolution adopting a proclamation recognizing Andrew Convey for attaining the Eagle Scout Award as requested by Council Vice President Mike Marin and Council Member Jay Wedgemont. Andrew, I invite you to come on up. You can come right over to the microphone. We're going to present this proclamation to you, congratulating you on this. Whereas Andrew Convey has devoted his time and his energy to complete the requirements of and participate in such a worthwhile organization as the Scouts BSA, and whereas he has attained the highest rank in scouting by becoming an Eagle Scout and passing all rank advancements, completing the required number of merit badges, demonstrating leadership in his troop, and completing a service project, and whereas his Eagle project benefited the community by building and installing 2 wooden footbridges to replace aging and unsafe footbridges in the local town Azalea Garden, and whereas this accomplishment of becoming an Eagle Scout brings pride to himself and honor to Kingston Troop Number 1, his family, and to his community, may this be a preview of his future dedication to a purpose and service to pursue until he accomplishes the goal that he is seeking. Now therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of South Kingstown, do hereby extend our congratulations for a job well done and best wishes for success in all future endeavors. Andrew, congratulations.
Thank you.
And this proclamation is for you. Well done. All right, do I hear a motion on this item?
Motion to approve item 10B.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's now going to bring us to public comments. Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any matter, I invite you to come on up. We just ask that you introduce yourself. We're going to limit you to 5 minutes. Once you begin speaking, this clock will begin counting down. You can use it as a way to stay within the 5 minutes.
I'm Steve Corley. I live in West Kingston, C-O-R-L-E-Y, and first thing I wanted to say is I've interaction with town employees, and I'm always proud that I live in South Kingston to get the service we do from our town employees. And the reason I'm addressing the town is the zoning and stuff that's going on right now, and I'm really grateful to see the schools finally being developed after 20-some years, South Road, and my concern would be that the Wakefield, when I look at parking plans, 1.5 cars isn't enough per unit. You'll have people parking behind Main Street businesses. It's easy to walk across the bridge. If I have a 1-bedroom apartment on my property, which allows me to live in West Kingston, and there's always more than 2 cars there. And so my other thing with the development is over in our industrial area, our light industrial area. South Kingston doesn't have hardly any industrial land. We don't have a Quonset Point. Our light industrial area is Liberty Road, Fairgrounds Road. And for us to give up zoning to allow residential buildings inside of an industrial doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't let a business, an industrial place build in a neighborhood. You shouldn't put a neighborhood in an industrial place, all for the same reasons. And I work for a company that 10 people. Now we're at well over 50, and we're growing. And I work and I live in West Kingston, Not too many people can say that. I work and I live here. And I know we want to make things more affordable. In the past, I've gone to planning board meetings. If you don't have somebody give a presentation and say, well, you can't put that house there because there's a beech tree on the lot, and we want to save the beech tree on the lot. Now you can only put 3 houses on a 4-lot thing. But the big thing is I think it's worth fighting the town to fight for zoning. I talked to a friend, I was just talking to him about Cottrell Farm, and you know, it won't be long until Cottrell Farm, a place like that's developed, and he goes, well, you know, the property's protected by deed. And I'm like, well, all the property was protected by zoning. And I just see that whole area. Arnold's Lumber, the place next to it, it'll all just be big buildings, apartment buildings, heading the way it is. We need a place to work. And I'm getting a little nervous.
You're doing great. You're
So
great.
the
You can come again. You're great. Do it again.
So with all that, and then on top of all that, you know, when you look at a 65-foot building, you know, you need 33 pounds of pressure just to get water to the top floor, about 44 pounds per 100 feet. So you've got to have infrastructure for that. The same newspaper I'm reading about collaboration for housing and all that, I'm reading about we have a shortage of water in South Kingston. So what's the plan for reservoirs? Another paper I'm reading that we have our wastewater treatment facility isn't up to snuff. What's the plan for all that stuff? So we're going to go into this development thing, which I think is proper. Places like the South Road School, Wakefield Elementary School, and a lot of the other places that are going on. I think that's great. I just don't think we want to put residential places in any industrial place. We make a lot of noise at night, during the day. The plant has a fire pit, like literally 60 feet off the corner of the building I'll be working at. I can just see the complaints coming in. Why they make a noise? Why does the deer place smell? All that stuff. There's a reason why we don't put industrial places in residential areas, and there should definitely be a reason we don't put residential areas in industrial. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yes, you
Go ahead.
Budget stuff going on, veterans. I'd like to see you increase the veterans exemption. I'm an officer. You could reduce it for officers and increase it for enlisted guys. So, bye.
Thank you. All right, anyone else in the audience wish to speak? I invite you to just come on up. Sure. Bob, go ahead.
Bob Traeger, Succotash Road. I'm glad I made it tonight, and this was an interesting presentation that was just given because I happened to be in that area twice this past week, and I met some people that work in one of those businesses over there. And in my conversation with one of them, I said, you know, I feel like I'm up in New Hampshire right now. This is the way people get treated up in New Hampshire, pretty well. I was pretty impressed with what they were doing too, with the business, and I agree with what this gentleman just said 100%. I think that is an area that's already quite developed to some extent. I mean, not compared to some places you'd go, but we need that. We need those places. And I talked to a couple of other employees that were over there too, and this doesn't really mean that much, but it has a little to do with housing, because not too many people that work in the area can afford to live in the area. I had a brief discussion with one of the young men. I tend to do that kind of thing. You might guess that. Anyway, the main reason I wanted to speak today is I told you why I come every couple of weeks, is that I'm sort of really, really happy about what happened in the elections last Tuesday around the country. And it's not because Democrats won. It's because why they won. And I was uplifted. I love the demonstrations, but this is the biggest one. The demonstration to go to the polls and vote, because that's our only hope right now, I think, for the country. And I saw some positive stuff went on there. I can vote for a Republican. I'm an independent. I can vote anywhere I want, and I have over many years of voting. It has anything to do with the parties. I don't even like the parties anymore, either one of them. I wish we could figure out another way to do it, but I guess it's too tough to do. It's more than I could ever handle, I know that. But anyway, I got a little uplift last week. And it's nice to say something positive.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? All right, we're going to move on to new business. I'm going to take up item A. Luke Murray.
All right, so we'll be reviewing the International Brotherhood of Police Officers, IBPO Local 489 Contract Tentative Agreement. We did review this thank you. We did review this contract in executive session. This is the same presentation I gave during that executive session. So we'll be going through each item. Feel free to ask questions as we go. So we had a robust negotiating team on both sides, consisting of the town manager, myself, the finance director, and other team members on the town side. And obviously the IBPO had their own team with a state representative included. Just for context, the SKPD budget for this year was approximately $10.5 million. They have 57 full-time sworn police officers. That does not include the chief, which makes them at a 58 full-time equivalent crew over at SKPD. Officers work an atypical 2184 hours per year, or a 42-hour week per average. I say it's atypical because we're only one of two departments in the state that have that schedule. The other one is North Kingstown, our next door neighbor. It's what's called a Panama schedule, so they work a rotating 12-hour shift on patrol, and then the modified administrative schedule, which we call it. They work 4 8.5-hour days and 1 8-hour day to round out their 42-hour schedule on Monday through Friday. That schedule arrangement was only negotiated in the last contract round. We did have a provision to repeal that and go back if the membership did not like it or our management did not like it. It turns out we both liked it. So we're moving forward with that. We've eliminated all provisions to the previous 4252 schedule. In our review of compensation, which I'll get into, we did find that SK was the lowest paid department when compared to similar sized departments throughout the state. That was an important factor in our negotiating process, and one that I'll review in a minute. Our management goals. So we have a continued focus on recruitment and retention. It has been difficult to recruit and retain officers throughout the state. Many have jumped departments. They go into the academy, they become post-certified, and then they have options, and they can easily go to another department and move over. There's a state law that was enacted that has tried to battle that a bit as far as reimbursement of expenses to the municipalities, but whether that's effective or not, we don't know yet. So we're still mindful of that as far as retention. We've endeavored to look to a retention pay structure, which I'll go over, and we're looking for fair compensation. Ultimately, we wanted a fair contract moving forward, and that means ultimately benefits and concessions on both sides. So we met with the leadership, the chief, civilian staff, we reviewed similar contracts, and these are the salary surveyed communities that we looked at. I highlighted North Kingstown because, as I said, the work hours are 2,184 per year. And all of the other departments are on a different operating schedule, and you can see they vary from 1950 to 2002 to 1935. So what does that mean? We really have to look at the hourly rate of pay when we're looking at compensation on the survey, not just the annual. So we did that. I included in your packet, and for public benefit, it is in the overall packet, the breakdown of the compensation survey we did of all the communities. This is just South Kingstown versus North Kingstown salary schedules, and you can see the percentages here on the difference. Where we were lacking is in general on the hourly rate, because that 2184 had kind of watered down in the last contract negotiation. So we're looking in North Kingstown, just for reference, is sort of in the middle of the pack of that 9 that we compensated. So it wasn't the highest, wasn't the lowest, sort of hovering right near the middle. So based on this, we determined that ultimately SKPD officers were undercompensated when compared to comparable communities. However, when we reviewed benefits, the benefits were richer in SK versus other communities. So one kind of dovetails with the other. Some communities over time negotiate on benefits more than compensation. I will tell you the current environment is very much compensation based. The old retirement, looking at the benefit packages is sort of gone wayward. Many of the new officers coming in are looking at the bottom line, which is what are we going to make year 1, 2, through 5. And so that's what we're really more focused on, is shifting from the benefit side over to the compensation side. Some communities were already built that way. It's just every community is different. So we had 8 in-person meetings starting in March, various online communications, working back and forth. As with any negotiation process, we try to keep it amicable and stay out of arbitration, which public safety has a right to go to if we come to a stalemate. We did not go down that road. We were there was push-pull on both sides, and I think it was a good process. We did reach a tentative agreement. The IBPO membership passed on Halloween, 52 to 1, which one ballot was not cast, out of that 57 in favor of this contract. So it was a unanimous vote. So what does it include? Wages. Year 1 is a variable increase based on the NK model. So by that I mean we matched NKPD's salary rates exactly. As I said, they weren't the highest, they weren't the lowest in our compensation survey. We felt that because they modeled our schedule, and quite frankly, we're competing with departments like that, that was sort of the model that we felt best to fit. What that also allowed to do is look at the benefit side, because NKPD has a less rich plan as far as medical, some of the vacation payouts, and et cetera, which I'll get into in a minute. Retention pay, this is something that, if you remember our other 3 contracts we have in town, we've moved some longevity to retention pay. The idea on that is to push down the schedules to the younger officers in the department to kind of improve that retention, and you'll see that in a second as well. Stipends were nominal adjustments. Field training officers are now broken down to 4-hour increments as opposed to a 12-hour increment. And then there's stipends for ride-along and evaluations for recruitment purposes. So the IBPO originally requested 5% per year. Where we landed was that matched schedule on the year 1, and then a 3% increase over years 2 and 3. We have a new retention pay schedule, which I'll show you in a minute. We made some adjustments to the rank structures to consolidate, which was desired by both management and the union. One of the big things that we did get a concession on is the healthcare model. So North Kingstown, thankfully enough, is also in the Rhode Island Interlocal Trust, as are we. So it was very easy for me to reach out to the trust and do a breakdown on what the cost savings would be and compare that. And there was a fairly sizable difference, which is reflected in the fiscal impact. So they did make a concession on that end, and that is someplace where management made a little ground in these negotiations. We also made some ground on some vacation payouts and sick payouts on retirement. We won't see that as much now, but we did do a look back, and it will be fairly significant moving forward. We'll be bending the cost curve because of those retirement payouts in the future. So on the longevity versus retention comparison, and I know these numbers are small, but in general, those red blocks are where we gave a little bit more, and especially you can see at the lower levels in years 3 through 5, where they originally didn't get any longevity, they now have retention pay. But where the purple blocks are, and you can see those are the upper echelons where you're at 20 years plus in their career, they gave a little bit. So we essentially shifted a little of that compensation, still making, fair compensation in longevity or retention, as we call it, but it definitely helps us at the lower scales to make that shift. Okay, so general items, general formatting, most people won't care about, but I do in the personnel world, so it's important to us in personnel. Holidays, we added Juneteenth, which is now a state holiday, and it's something that all departments have adopted. We made some adjustments to bereavement leave, vacation leave, and military leave, which was a concession. Military leave, they had a pretty generous benefit, which we peeled back a little bit, but it's still generous, I would say. And again, the medical insurance was a big one. We also reduced the buyback. We had, for both family and individual, a rate of $4,000. We're now on the individual rate. It'll go to $2,000, which saves the town a bit of money there. I already mentioned the vacation and sick payouts, which we did get concessions on. Wellness incentive, they now have to have a dental exam in addition to a standard physical, and signing up for trust challenges in order to qualify for that $500 incentive. And then we made some adjustments to the special detail rates, which really doesn't affect the town. It's mostly contractors who contract with the town. But I will say our rates are in line with industry average for the area. So, fiscal impact, and I certainly can call Brian up to speak to this if needed. But over the 3-year period, our total impact is $1.4 million. Again, in context, the entire public safety budget's about $16 million. Police alone, only sworn officers, and that's not including dispatch animal services, is $10.5 million. So while this is a large number, that's in context of a very large budget, a big portion of our budget as a town, and definitely covers a substantial amount of employees as part of that as well. Year one is the biggest hit because that's where we're rolling in the new retention schedule and these initial increases, which are more than that 3%. However, it smooths out on year 2 and 3. As I mentioned in the executive session, our delta for what we're liable this year as far as the budget, although it's $636,000 as far as year 1, our balance for this year would be $318,954. And the reason is we built in already into the budget, which you approved, a 2% increase as far as the SKPD budget, anticipating we would go up at least something in terms of salary. We didn't really know if we were going to land at 2%. That was probably idealistic, but we also don't want to include too much because we don't want to, overplay the hand and put too much into the budget. It's tougher to peel back than put it back in, so to speak. I will tell you, in general, we're fine though. This council adopted a very prudent budget. We have money in the budget to cover this first year, this gap in funding. So we will be fine. We do not have to open the budget or do anything to cover this amount. We also have a fair amount of retirements and staffing shifts going on by happenstance this year, which I think will bode well for us to knock down this number as well. So it's a good year to contract negotiate, so to speak, so I think we'll be in fine shape. Did you have any questions on finances? Brian need to come up at all? Good? Okay. So in conclusion, we think this tentative agreement will bring these wages in line with comparable departments. And I think moving forward will bode well for that because we're in a solid footing in our next negotiating cycle because we will be comparable. So then we can start really on a firm footing as far as negotiations. We're realigning the healthcare plan. Again, not only affects the upcoming years, but the out years on bending the cost curve. As we know, healthcare does not go down. We're going to see, I'm on the Rhode Island Trust Board, we are going to see increases this year, heavier increases this year. It's just the way the market's going. So anything we can do to bend that cost curve is typically welcomed. The retention model, I think, will work. I think it is going to. We're already seeing some benefits. We're not seeing the attrition, and we have upwards of 4 going to the academy, upwards, I believe, of 5 potentially going to the academy this year. So that's going to be important. We've got a young force. We want to retain them. If we're going to put dollars into their training, we want to reap the benefits. We've already redirected we're going to redirect some of the funds from existing benefits to wages, and we're reducing those long-term liability costs through the reduced payouts. So with that, there's a proposed resolution in your packet. If you so choose to move it forward, that would authorize the town manager to sign this tentative agreement.
All right, thank you, Luke. Any questions, comments? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve item 10A.
Second. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation, Luke. Congratulations to the team. This was obviously a lot of work. We now have a draft 3-year contract that goes back to July 1 for the benefit of the public. And it does shift, as you've explained it, it does shift the costs to try and address the retention issue. And I think even the $316,000, I understand you and Brian are giving it your best estimate for where we'll wind up in June of '26. But I suspect that the ordinary attrition process, it may not even be that much. And I saw that there was a unanimous vote on the part of the union as well. So thank you for your efforts.
Any other discussion? I'll just say it's great to see us work together with the union members collaboratively, get to a unanimous decision. It means we're taking actions to benefit the town, taking positions in a contract that benefit the town, but also benefit the union members as well. For us to meet in the middle, that says a lot about our negotiating tactics, but also our willingness to extend and sort of compromise to reach, what do our employees need, and to help get there and see unanimous vote from the membership is important. So happy to put this over the finish line. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Now we're going to move to item 10C. Terry Murphy, come on up.
Good evening. The council has item 10C under new business to consider for supporting the submission of 3 Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management outdoor recreation grant applications. The governor's office announced that there is $5 million in grant funding available to communities for outdoor recreation projects, capital projects. We require the support and authorization of the town council to move forward with these grant applications, and we have 3 different projects that we're applying for. One is a Town Farm Park playground improvement project, which is for a large grant of $500,000, and then there are 2 small grant applications, one for Treaty Rock Park playground and the other for Fagan Park playground expansion. Those are one is for $100,000 and the other is for $125,000. So in order for us to move forward with applying for these funds, which will help us considerably in terms of leveraging what small dollars we have right now in capital for playground projects, we require council support and authorization for the manager to sign off on these applications.
All right, thank you, Terry. Any questions? Go ahead.
These are great. Thank you for doing this. But I had a question about how likely are we to get, say, the large grant for $500,000? I mean, I feel like a lot of communities would be competing.
That's correct. It's difficult to know, but we do. The reason we're wanting to apply for 3 different projects is because we may not get a large grant. We are competing with communities that probably have a higher need in terms of the metrics that are, that we're scored upon. So the last round in 2023, we applied for the large grant for Old Mountain Field and did not get that grant. So we are looking to also put in for some smaller grants in hopes that we can move forward some capital project. And the playground projects are beneficial because they're in the pipeline already. We've got those projects in the capital. We have some funds, and there are also more funds coming up in the 26-27 CIP as well. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Good.
Terry, I want to thank you for meeting with some of the residents and people that live around Fagan Park. I was also contacted by some constituents over there, and they had concerns about some of the playground equipment. I guess in the classification of the park, it's considered to be a park for like 3 to 5-year-olds, where in reality it's used by a much broader age group. And so I wanted to thank you for going out there and meeting with them. And if by chance we are able to get the grant, will there be an opportunity for some of the people near that particular park to participate in, like just sort of talking about what equipment will end up there?
Yes, and I was grateful that there was some feedback from the neighborhood in terms of Fagan Park, and the need there does, for the neighborhood proper, there are older children there that now the smaller structure doesn't really suit their needs. If we can expand and if we can leverage funds through this grant program, we will look at putting in a play structure for 6 to 12-year-olds. What we did at that park was really a like-kind replacement for the 2 to 5-year-old structure that was there. But yes, we have to engage the community. We put these projects on public notice so that people can come in and comment. And yes, so the answer
Maybe
is
like
yes.
some picnic tables there?
There are picnic tables there.
Oh, good.
So the park does have, and those were recently within the past few years, repaired because there was some damage to those. So yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for meeting with people and really doing such an excellent job.
We really did have the neighborhood reach out to us, so I'd like to take all that credit, but.
and just in saying that, that is a really good point. If there's a park in your neighborhood, we're always looking for feedback. So any information that people can give to the town, the employees as well as the council on their particular needs, it's extremely helpful. And as many people have said here tonight, our town staff really goes above and beyond to try to be helpful. So,
thank you.
I appreciate it.
Terry, I would definitely vote in favor of this. Go get these grants if you can. I'll rub my rabbit's foot for them. And I just also want to just echo some of the praise that you've already gotten tonight. The park staff under your leadership does an amazing job. This town council, this town administration has been investing in town land in South Kingstown, and even just this past weekend at Trevor Forever, where the town helped open up with community involvement and a grant from Rep. McEntee, a half pipe for Trevor Stoutenberg. And that and all of the amazing things you all do, putting the Christmas tree in Saugatucket Park, we're investing in our town space and our parks in South Kingstown. So I wish you luck with the grants. I hope we get them, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Terry, just a couple of questions. Does DEM have a particular timeline for making the awards on these 3 grants?
After the new year, yes. I believe it's early spring when they award these, but the grant applications are due this month, so the council needs to consider it.
I understood your earlier comment about we may not get the entire amount, we may get partial, we may get nothing on a particular proposal. Are there prioritizations that we're locked into in this process?
As part of the scoring metric, we have to prioritize the projects. We're only having one large project, so that's priority 1 for the large grant, and then the 2 smaller grants are 1, 2, and we are prioritizing Treaty Rock Park over Fagan Park because Fagan Park just got the new play structure through the ARPA funds, but hard to know. There's a number of different, there's 20 questions in the scoring matrix that they use.
When we're on the other side of the grant process and you know what we did and didn't get, particularly where there's a 25% match from the town, if you could just sort of come back to us and let us know what the status of it is, because it's also going to impact your CIP proposals that are going to be coming.
Yes, only we won't know before CIP.
I get that.
But
yeah.
I hope I can come up here and tell you that we need to
That's
match.
why I was asking about the timing.
Thank you.
Because I know
Yep.
you're a month away from submitting something on CIP.
All right, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve item 10C.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take up 10D during the course of the new business item where we hear on the update regarding the school facilities project. We're going to move to item 10E, which is a resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise for order of notice, a public hearing. Do I hear a motion on this item?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Quick question, Nicole, is this, the liquor licenses, are they advertised for the public somewhere so that people can know which licenses are up for renewal?
So this is just for Birch and Bay for their liquor expansion and their renewal, and that will be advertised in the Narragansett Times and the renewals for all the other liquor licenses was approved under the consent agenda.
Oh,
And that
okay.
will be advertised as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Now we're going to move to the town manager's report. Luke Murray?
Yep, so we have two items on tonight. One is the school building facilities project update, which I'll give a quick intro on, and then we have the green energy aggregation. We have somebody from Good Energy here to speak to that, so we can bring that up at the appropriate time. First, I just want to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. Former military myself, veteran. We actually had a nice add-on this year. We have encouraged employees to share their photos from military service. And if you go downstairs on one of the main corridors on the wall, there's pictures we added today and we put it out on social media. So I encourage you and anybody from the community to come out, celebrate the veterans we have here in Town Hall. But we know we have plenty in our community and very appreciative of that. So with that, we'll move on to the school building project update. Kate Turner's here and Chris and Mark and Kate.
While they're coming forward, we also have the parade tomorrow at 10.
Yes, we do.
That steps off at Main Street.
All right, good evening, everyone. Kate Turner with Left Field, joined by Mark Moore with Gilbane, as well as Chris Spiegel, also with Left Field. I'll go through kind of our standard update, and then I know we have a new business item we've combined with this agenda item as well, I believe. Any preference on order that I tack those items in?
You know, we typically take up the new business
Do the
items sort
report
of
first.
in the course of your presentation, so I expect that you would sort of touch on it in here. Once you get there, we'll just take it up.
Will do. All right, so our agenda for the update tonight, going through our overall project schedule, looking at some of the key milestones we have coming up, doing a construction update, discussing some of our butter correspondence, giving an update as to where we are in Curtis Corner, and then our last agenda item is going to tie directly to that new business item relating the change order process. So our overall project update, kind of hard to see on the screen for those who are looking, but that greenish yellow color is where we are within our bidding process. Our guaranteed maximum price number 2 is due in the beginning of the year for approval. And we are underway with our red bar, which indicates our progress for construction. So a few things coming up. We are submitting our application for our building permit. That's the remaining building permit, since we have our foundations permit already underway. Bids are coming in for all of our remaining packages next month, and we are going to be seeking an approval of our final construction contract from this council on the 12th of January. Just some quick updates from our RIDE process. We're looking at the end of this month to receive our final 60% construction document approval. and then into December for the Curtis Corner selective demolition and site stabilization approval for just that small package. This is our 4-week look ahead. So moving into construction, I'll hand it over to Mark Moore. Please note that some of these photos, since the report was submitted last week, construction is changing rapidly, so the photos are a little bit outdated, but stick with us.
Thank you, Kate. Good evening, everyone. So, as Kate mentioned, things are going very well out there. Things are definitely on schedule and moving along. As we have been over the course of the last month or so, and we will be over the course of the next couple months, we're just mainly focusing on site work, excavating foundations, pouring foundations, backfilling foundations, getting roadways in, and getting utilities in. And that pretty much is what is shown here before you. For the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to be consistently working on doing some site utilities as the structures come on site from the manufacturers. And then we're moving, as we said in previous meetings, from west to east, west being the 3-story academic tower. Pictures may be a little bit behind where we actually are in the field because we're moving very well. But where we are from a west to east standpoint as a visual, the west side is the 3-story academic tower. That entire foundation is complete. So we are 100% done with the foundation for the academic tower. And as we work our way east, we're about halfway through what would be the cafeteria area. And then we'll be moving into the auditorium and gymnasium on the eastern side. So things are going well. And then this just basically spells out where we are, and as I just explained it to you. So I'll let you hit that. Yep, and that's kind of a visual there. So all the way on the left is that academic tower. The exterior perimeter highlight is the exterior foundation walls, and those interior squares are all interior foundation footings that have been poured and are in place. So as you can see, we're working our way west to east. A few pictures here, kind of just giving you a visual on what that was in front of you on paper. Again, if you peeked your head behind the curtain, you would probably see us a little bit further ahead than where these pictures are because they had to be given a week ahead of the meeting. So we can just kind of go through those real quick. Those squares that you're seeing in the middle and off to the right are your interior square footings that you saw in that and the slide with the picture on it. Same thing, the picture on the right is that exterior foundation wall of the 3-story academic tower. A couple of more pictures of those interior footings that are going on. And, that's about it. But I just want to reassure everybody things are going really well out there, and we are definitely moving along on schedule.
Excellent. You got a question? Go ahead.
All right. So next item on our agenda we wanted to touch on is regarding some abutter correspondence that we've received. So since we've started construction, we've been reached out to by a few residents, one on Branch Street, one on Oak Street, and one on Hope Court, that have had concerns about the vibration caused by the vibratory compaction in compacting all of our site materials in preparation for our foundations. So we want to just give an update as to what we're doing to address these comments. We do take our responsibility as neighbors very seriously. So as you know, we did hire a contractor to provide an abutter survey to homes in the immediate surrounding areas. A few of the residents that were concerned about vibration had not received a notice for the survey. Either they were outside of the survey limit. Another resident on Oak Street was part of a new construction home. So we did have TER reach out to them and communicate with them regarding having their homes surveyed. We've also been monitoring vibration at the site limits throughout construction. It's a consistent monitoring. So every time a call is received or a concern is received, we do check those reports. They're checked daily, but we check at that specific time period as well. And each time we have noted that there was not an exceedance of vibration at that time. But still understanding that is disturbing, Gilbane instructed their site contractor to use a smaller size roller. There were other means of compaction that were explored. Unfortunately, they would have come at a very significant cost and schedule impact in order to move away from a vibratory compaction method. So it's been a little while since we've received any correspondence. We do have another neighbor on Branch Street that is having some concerns with noise from the beeping, from the backup alarms on some of our equipment. Gilbane also did look into any alternatives there. Unfortunately, that is a requirement of OSHA. It is a safety requirement to be able to have those alarms. So we have been in communication with that abutter and trying to do our best to inform that abutter of any potential noisy activities. But unfortunately, at this phase of construction, they're all noisy activities. So, we're doing our best to continue with that communication and trying to do as much as we can for the neighbors in the surrounding areas.
Kate, are there any other issues with people who aren't in the immediate abutting zone that were initially contacted?
I have not received, these were really these 3 homes that complained had vibration concerns, and then the fourth abutter that had noise concerns. So those are the only correspondence that we've received from abutters.
I'm wondering if we've incorporated the correct zone, I guess, and it sounds like we have.
Yes, I think so.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Curtis Corner. We haven't talked about Curtis Corner in a while. We've been really focused on the high school, so we wanted to just take a moment to let you guys know where we are. In an effort to get further price certainty with the Curtis Corner project, we are putting out to bid a package for the selective demolition of the middle school and a site stabilization, which is really just backfilling in that area. It's not a full site restoration, but it does make that area safe while the remaining work is still being planned. So those bids are going to be due on December 12th. Looking for a recommendation from the building committee in December. We are going to request from this council review of those bids at the same time that we're reviewing the final high school contract to be able to give us price certainty as to where we remain with the budget to be able to fund the design and construction of the new athletic field. That is still a priority for the project team. That has not been forgotten. We just want to make sure that it is designed thoughtfully and utilizing the funds to the most appropriate extent possible. So we are looking in the January timeframe after we get those bids in to restart the design effort for the fields to be able to really design to budget. The first few attempts weren't within the budget that we had allocated, so we really need to go back to the drawing board, literally, and redesign those fields. We are still targeting the fall of 2027 when we open the high school to also open those athletic fields. So again, we just want to reassure the public and the council that this has not been a forgotten priority. We are really just moving towards that cost certainty so it can be designed to budget. Thank you. Any questions before I move on to our last agenda item?
Go ahead.
Just a question on the report that you submitted, the spreadsheet for hard costs and soft costs, which in my package is page 6. I'm not sure where it is in yours. With respect to the overall budget totals that you're showing there, I just want to make sure I'm reading it right. Those don't incorporate the potential 52% cost reimbursement that we will eventually receive from the state.
That's correct. Okay. That is the overall project budget pre-reimbursement.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming tonight, all of you, and I appreciate that. And so the 60% completion for RIDE, there's no hiccups you expect for that completion? No?
No, I don't expect that to be any issue with our progress forward in the project. We've received the approvals we need to move forward with the work that's going on.
Gotcha. And I want to echo what Council Vice President Marin said about the Curtis Corner project, right? It's a really important part of that, of the new high school project. So I'm glad that you haven't forgotten about it. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so part of one of our new business items and also part of this report is regarding modifications to the change order task force. So the last time we came in front of you, we had recommended a composition of a task force to review proposed change orders and provide recommendations for the contractor to proceed with the scope of work and move those changes forward. We had a few different dollar value limits, and really our intention with the task force was to be able to be very nimble, meet at a moment's notice if it were to impact the schedule, which a lot of these changes usually do need to be decided on rather quickly. So with that being known, we had attempted to make our first meeting of the change order task force. Through additional due diligence, we were made aware that because of the purview of the task force, we were going to have to meet Open Meetings Act regulations, which limited the flexibility of our task force to be able to make these very quick decisions because of the time component that is related to OMA. So we are recommending a modification to some of the limits to be able to keep that flexibility. The first is a newer add, and that is for an administration approval for changes that are time sensitive up to a cost of $15,000. That is in accordance with purchasing guidelines within the town for approval of change orders. The task force would then oversee change orders between $15,000 and $50,000. The task force and building committee would be reviewing and recommending approvals for change orders from $50,000 to $100,000. The task force, building committee, and council would need to vote on any change orders above $100,000. For any elective changes, and that's really betterments or requests that are not time sensitive, the building committee and task force need to review all of those requests up to $15,000, and anything above $15,000 goes to this council as well.
All right, thank you. Any questions on this? Go ahead.
Not a question so much as a comment. I read through the memorandum that was submitted for the changes, and I think it makes sense given the constraints of trying to actually get the project completed. I think the financial amounts are fine. I do want to reiterate, and my colleagues here have said repeatedly, and as have I, if something comes up that is urgent, we will gladly hold a special meeting or a joint meeting with the school building committee to do whatever we have to get it done.
I got a few questions here. I just kind of want to talk about sort of the basis that went into these recommended changes. You came to us at a meeting, I don't know, maybe a month ago, within the last 2 months. You gave us a pretty solid recommendation as to what the different levels for approval should be as it relates to these change orders. And now here you are with, looks to me like some substantial changes, and just kind of want to get more of a sense of what is the basis for these changes.
Well, the first basis was because of the change order task force needing to follow the Open Meetings Act regulations. So that was really the first hiccup in us being able to move this process forward. And then the adjustments of the limits first came from the town's purchasing guidelines regarding an administration being able to approve changes up to $15,000. And then the remaining are really based on The scale in relation to our overall construction budget, this is a large project, so these change orders are going to be large. So we want to be able to make sure that we can move this process forward efficiently without having to hold several meetings and several weeks of approvals prior to being able to proceed with issues that are time sensitive. I will also just remind the council that all changes are reviewed. Their final review and approval is with the town council, because the contractual amendment to our construction contract needs to go in front of you. So before Gilbane can bill for any of these changes, they have to be reviewed and approved by the council. So this really is just authorization for Gilbane to move forward within these limits. But the council and the building committee do see every single change order regardless of limit.
So the original change order limit says originally approved. It was inflexible in that it didn't account for anytime the task force would have to meet to vote, they'd have to advertise notice of such a meeting. And that's inflexible if you have to really move fast to act and not allow anything to be slowed down. So this new approach really builds in an administrative approval aspect.
Correct.
Allows the manager to review it, sign off, allow it to move expeditiously, as opposed to we have to wait 48 hours, have a meeting, formally vote on it. So that's really that's what it sounds like to me.
That is correct.
Okay.
And if I may, Roy, I just want to add a little bit more to that. The issue wasn't just mainly the 48-hour notice, and that is certainly something that, when you think of weekends and holidays, it's really a lot more than 48 hours. The other issue was getting the entire task force together in person, because the thought was, we'll just do this by Zoom. Well, under the Open Meetings Act, you can't meet by Zoom. No public body can meet by Zoom. So it was both the amount of time it would take before a decision could be made based upon the number of hours, and also the thought that we've got to get everyone here physically in a room, and that would be challenging. And the fear was that was going to slow things down.
All right, thank you, Mike. Now, do we believe this is the most flexible? I mean, is it possible to be a little bit more flexible?
I mean, it could be more flexible, sure, but we also want to be responsible and transparent in our reviews. We don't want to try and pass everything through. We want to make sure that we are really hitting the intent of this transparent process and having that oversight that's been requested of this project.
And in the event that we decide that what we pass here tonight is a little inflexible, we could always take it up at a future meeting.
Correct.
All right. Any other questions?
We haven't had a change order happen yet, have we?
We've had a few $0 changes, which are, looking to hire a different dumpster company. Those they have no cost impact, but, contractually we need to change the contract award. So it'll eventually come across your desk, but right now there's a few $0 changes to those effects in place. We do have one that's under review right now regarding some changes to structural steel, because we're in between our early bid package and our final bid package. There's some crossover between the two, so there is one change order that is under review that does have a cost impact. We are looking at reviewing that at our change order task force meeting on next Friday.
Is that going to be meeting consistently or as needed on Fridays, or is like a placeholder? How is that working out?
The goal will be to be consistent. If we need the meeting, we'll hold it, but we'll be consistent with the time. So we'll know 48 hours out by that Wednesday if we need to post, and then we'll have that meeting.
So that'll typically be on a Friday? That's
Correct.
The time you've identified?
Unless we decide on an alternate day that works better for the membership. Originally, to Mike's point, we were thinking that we might be able to go virtual. It seems like right now we're pointing towards Friday, and it is a work session, so we're trying to accommodate schedules. So if it changes, though, it will be consistent moving forward from that change.
Yeah, we have a hold on all of I placed a weekly hold on everybody's calendars. And, the Monday before, if we realize we don't need to have a meeting, I'll cancel it and free up the end part of the week for everybody, but it is a hold in hopes that if we need to hold that meeting, everyone.
At what time?
10 a.m.
I'm in favor of the proposed changes, and I just have a quick question for Chris. Chris, will you be traveling to Pittsburgh this weekend to cheer on Rhode Island FC?
I think we all know that's a yes.
That's some wicked good soccer.
No, but I'm taking it so seriously. When I was at Disney over the weekend, I watched the shootout from the ride for Slinky Dog Dash. So I'm taking it very seriously. Up the tide. Let's go RIFC.
Let's go Rhode Island FC.
All right. Do I hear a motion on this item?
Motion to approve item 10D.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Kate, Chris, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, it's going to bring us to our next item on the manager's report. Luke Murray.
All right, we have Mark Russo here with a representative from Good Energy to answer your questions as requested by Mike Barron.
Good evening.
All right. Mark, before we get into
Sure.
it, I know this item was requested by Council Vice President Mike Marin. Want to give a little intro before we dive right into it?
Sure. For the benefit of the other members of the council and the public, when this matter came before us a few weeks ago, we were discussing a 5-year extension on the contract that has 2 years still left in it. And after we voted, and I've also talked with the town manager about this, and I gather he's talked with Mark and Good Energy. I had concerns about us doing our due diligence before executing another contract. And I appreciate Good Energy's role here is as our consultant, and that the contract itself is with NextEra. I think at some point we should have a larger discussion about the aggregation program and where it is, not just for South Kingstown and the 7 other cities, or 8? 6 others, so 7 total. Okay. I knew the number was in flux. But I do want to have the council have a discussion about how we fit into that program. And it's not to undo an extension, it's not to eliminate it, but I think the council needs to have further discussion. And what I did ask the town manager, because he's not here tonight, what I'd like to do is just put this on hold for now, but have you come back at another meeting, probably the one on the 24th, so that the council, and I'll do a formal motion to reconsider the vote from the prior meeting without prejudice or indication of how it's going to go, because I honestly don't know. But I do have additional questions for you, and I know you're in communication with NextEra, and we can get some additional information.
Can I?
Yeah, you can.
Go ahead.
So, I was a no vote on this, mainly because of my concerns about NextEra, which I'm not sure if any of the other council members have looked into the company. They're currently being asked about their involvement in the destruction of the East Wing at the White House, that they were donors to that. So that's something that I'd really like to know more about, and just, sort of who we're doing business with. So that's really where my concerns are.
All right. So there's potentially a motion to reconsider the motion we approved at a previous meeting to execute a continuing 5 years add-on to whatever we have remaining on the existing contract. We're not taking that up tonight, but the contract has not been executed in accordance with the motion that we passed at the previous meeting. The manager has gotten indication, from the council is the possibility of, just doing further due diligence, ensuring that those certain suppliers that you've contracted with are the best rate possible for the town and for the town's residents. But I believe this is sort of going to be taken up more in depth at a subsequent meeting, preferably at the next meeting if we can fit it in, have you come back, and then we have a more in-depth discussion, conversation, analysis.
When you come back, if you could just provide us with a little more context of sort of the history of the contract for South Kingstown, but also how it fits into the larger aggregation program for the state, and what steps Good Energy has taken with respect to determining that Next Era is the best contractor for us to sign on with.
I have a question for the solicitor. Mike, so we voted 4-1 to sign the contract. So how is it that Jim didn't execute that contract if we didn't take action for him not to sign off on it?
So,
and it sounds like there's some communication.
yeah, I don't know what the communication was other than Mike talking to Jim, because Mike asked me whether or not it was possible for the council to reconsider the vote. Before I answered that question, I called Jim to find out if we even had a contract yet to look at, because when you authorize the manager to sign a contract, any contract, it comes to my office first for review, and he wants a written sign-off by my office. Up to that point, I never received from Jim or never saw what this extension was. So at the time that Mike raised the issue with the manager, there was no extension that had been given to me.
But we haven't stopped the extension, so I'm curious why Jim would not do it. Why it wouldn't continue
There hasn't
on.
been an agreement to sign.
I haven't
There's nothing to
seen-
sign.
I haven't seen, I don't even know if Jim has an agreement.
I just don't, it's not about Jim, I'm just concerned in how it got paused.
It didn't get paused.
Just what Mike said. I contacted him, he contacted the manager, I spoke with the manager and said, I want to submit a motion to reconsider after Mike and I discussed the propriety of that.
Yeah, Mike asked me, what's the process for a council reconsidering a prior decision that it already made? I said, someone from the side who voted in favor of the decision needs to bring it up at a subsequent council meeting. And that's where it went.
So are you saying, do we add this to the agenda? Oh, no, it is on the agenda.
No.
So this part is okay?
It's not on the,
Well,
you
it's
can-
under the,
yeah.
it's under the manager's
It's,
report.
we've got the Good Energy Aggregation Program on
Okay.
here, so you can talk about it for
So
sure.
So in 2 weeks, will we have a motion to reconsider the contract? Is
Yes,
that what
it
you're?
was, yeah, the purpose of doing it on the 24th was Jim wanted to be here to be part of that discussion.
So to protect against the possibility that a contract between now and the next meeting comes to you for review, and they already have a vote, a previous meeting authorizing us to continue on another 5 years, should we do a motion to reconsider right now to prevent against that?
I don't think you can.
I think we would go to the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying, Mike?
I do, and you can do what you normally do when something's not specifically on the agenda for a vote. You can refer the matter to the administration, to the solicitor, or whatever. You're having a conversation this evening. I'm obviously hearing that at least I'm hearing from 3 of you, I think, that you want an opportunity to discuss this further. So I am.
Which 3?
Well, I'm hearing Patty has issues. I'm hearing Mike has issues. And I assume Rory has issues. So.
I voted no. It was 4-1.
I don't even remember that
so,
you voted no. Okay.
Yeah.
So can we just discuss this at the next meeting? Is that?
Well, it'll be an agenda item at the next meeting, as I understand what Mike is proposing tonight, that we can
Only because it gets
we
edited.
have an actual item on the agenda that says reconsideration of the contract.
Question for you, Mike.
Sure.
Is an agenda item that asks for reconsideration of an item enough to prevent the manager from signing an agreement that's sent to him in advance to the meeting on the 24th?
Yeah, I think based upon what you're saying tonight, the answer is yes.
Okay.
We didn't give a direction in that vote as to when it had to be signed either.
True.
And there's still 2 years left on the current contract.
Well, that's a good point. There's still 2 years left on the current contract.
I think this is a comment over here.
Hi, Dawn Oyer here on behalf of Good Energy. Patrick sends his regrets. His wife is very pregnant and they had to go to the doctors tonight. Everything's fine, but he apologizes for not being able to be here tonight, but it's good to be with you all. We obviously do not want to do anything to make the council uncomfortable, and so part of the reason from a logistics perspective after approval of the contract, because again, this is a multi-party situation, so we had worked on getting approval from the rest of the councils, which we have done, except for Barrington. We have a meeting, I want to say December 5th or 6th. In Barrington. So that vote in Barrington is still pending. But so what we need to do as far as the aggregation contract extension is to have all of the communities in agreement. And so we were, so that's part of it. And then we were gonna bring all of the solicitors together to do the lawyer things, to lawyer together and get on the same page. So from a logistics perspective, I just want to be able to weigh in on that question. And then I think that there was a lot said that I'm unaware of about NextEra, but I'll say that totally happy to weigh in and give you additional information. I think I know you all do a lot and run through a ton of different items, and so when we have come up in the past, we try to be really concise and precise with our time out of respect for your time and all of the issues that you're addressing. But I do just want to raise again the point that we did do an RFP that was weighed in by town staff as well through all 7 municipalities. And Barrington additionally has an additional consultant in addition to their staff. So again, we're happy to answer questions. We obviously want to make the council comfortable with this process, and can talk about why the need for 5 years when we still have 2 years left. But just, kind of wanted to add those additional elements to it. And I will say, though, that you are correct. We do have 2 years left on the contract. However, due to the kind of procurement schedules and everything else, we were really hoping to kind of get consensus and be able to move forward. So again, happy to come back, happy to provide whatever detail and weigh in whatever way is beneficial to the council.
I appreciate that, and you did speak to essentially wanting to leverage your negotiating power by doing this process, and I got that night. I get it now, and for me, it's not about NextEra's politics. I want to make sure that we're doing the due diligence for the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask?
Good.
While she's here. So the other 5 of the 7 communities have already passed the extension, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So we technically are the 6th, but
yes,
it may be reviewed.
Yes.
And then the 7th is Barrington. So the reason why we might not have the contract is because you were waiting for it to go through Barrington and then in December sign off on the contract.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And so it does show, if you do a Google search, it does show that NextEra is one of the donors, one of the private donors for the East Wing, and I can see why it would be very problematic, and many people, maybe 50% of the country or 50% of South Kingstown might be upset at that. So I think it's a valid pause, Patty, right? I think it's, no? What are you looking at?
No, it is, but also if you Google, lawsuits with the scorched earth, that was the sort of stuff that I talked about last week. Antitrust lawsuits. That was why I voted no, but then it was, the next day was more information. So I just really want everybody to look into it.
So is it possible, are you in communication with NextEra, and could you get some sort of information from them about what we're asking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
We look forward to hearing more at the next meeting. Thank you.
I just wanted to say the reason that didn't get onto Jim's desk for a signature is I neglected to bring it to him for signature. So with days off here and there.
The contract extension, that is?
Yes, the contract extension that we were talking about earlier, why Jim didn't sign it.
But we don't have it yet.
We just have a document that says it's a draft.
All right. Okay. Again, I've never seen it, but now I understand the background. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mark. All right, it's going to bring us back to public comments. Anyone who hasn't spoken, who wishes to speak, I invite you to come on up. All right. Any comments, thoughts from the council members?
Yeah, just, Mike said it, but I want to just say it in case anyone's still listening, that there is the parade tomorrow. We kind of got tucked into the other thing. The parade will start tomorrow at 10. Public is obviously welcome, in the ceremony at Saugatucket Park will be immediately following. Tiger Patrick usually does a great job, so come on down.
Look forward to seeing everyone then.
So, I would like to congratulate Representative Carol Hagan McEntee, who was appointed this week as the chair of the Judiciary Committee for the upcoming legislative season. And one of the things that has been said is that above all of the committees, the Judiciary Committee really has the ability to provide a real crucial line of defense for Rhode Islanders. And it makes a real difference in people being able to have some justice, some sense of satisfaction in how the laws of Rhode Island work. And I particularly appreciate that because Carol Hagan McEntee was critically important in getting the secure, safe gun storage bill passed. And so I know firsthand how compassionate she is, and what a tremendous sense of justice, and what a strong fighter she is. So I'm really happy that she was named chair of Judiciary, and I just want to say congratulations. We're very proud of you, Rep. McEntee.
Thank you, Patty. Go ahead.
There was a pretty scary time in our country just last week or this week that SNAP benefits weren't going to hit accounts for millions of Americans, thousands of residents in South Kingstown, and people showed up and delivered thousands of pounds of food for residents in South Kingstown and South County, brought to the Johnny Cake Center, their own food pantries. They hosted makeshift ones, different political organizations from the Republican Party in South Kingstown to the Democratic Party in South Kingstown, churches, pantries, everyone came out and really donated. And that is an amazing thing to see. That's what our town's all about. That is the giving and generous soul that is being from South Kingstown. I want to give a shout out to the people of South Kingstown for showing up for your neighbors, and a reminder, as you know, that hunger does not just stop. Now it's all winter long, and your generosity is not going unnoticed. I think that it's heartwarming, and I'm proud of you, South Kingstown. Great job.
All right. Go
Just
ahead.
one, Luke, you may or may not know the answer to this, and I apologize for not talking during the time that gave the time manager's report, but the water ban, is it still odd even? Because we haven't heard otherwise.
I will get an update as of tomorrow. I know it rained significantly today. I was
Yes,
thinking the same
yes.
thing, but as far as I know, it's still on. But I will
Yeah.
check with Rich, obviously, by Wednesday, so.
Still going to go on the record, find it a little ridiculous that it's November 10th and we're still doing this, because every person I come into contact with, if they haven't seen the signs, goes, I'd never even thought it was a thing after Labor Day.
Yeah, so I'm hopeful it'll get lifted with all the rain we've had, so I will give the council an update.
Thank you.
The lack of, not on the part of the town, but the lack of information from our partner is causing problems because people are ignoring it. Because the common wisdom is we don't need to be doing it anymore. Whether that's right or wrong, long-term is, God knows, another issue.
Well said.
But they're creating a problem.
And I just, there is an APRA request to the town about data from Veolia that I would hope that we would work to have provided to whoever that person is who wants the data. Because they went to Veolia and then they were denied, went to the Attorney General, then redirected to the town, because they're gonna get it through, they can't get it through a private organization, but they can get it through a public.
My office is working on that.
Okay, I just,
Yeah, we're going to provide them with whatever information we have.
as quick.
Thanks, Mike.
Because I think Veolia is stalling for whatever reason.
All right. Any other thoughts, comments? All right, we've reached the end here. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Good night, South Kingstown.
Are we sure about this?
It must be because Jim's not here. What do you think?
See, it wasn't me, Luke.
Luke, well done.
Appreciate it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting is